Hi, boys and girls, it's Mr. Wasemann, and today we are once again in the preface of our Indiana Social Studies text from Pearson. We are on pages IN 28 and 29, learning about geography skills. So let's take a look at the pages. Today's lesson is going to be twofold. One, we're going to be learning a little bit about geography, and two, we are going to be exploring some nonfiction text features. So as you can see on page IN 28, we have a subheading that's entitled Reading Globes. It shows you a graphic of the Earth, and then it shows you a photograph of the globe. Now, I just wanted to point out a couple of features that are going to help us make connections with what we're looking at. A caption is when you look at a picture and then there's words written alongside it to describe the picture you're looking at. Now, what we have here on this picture is what we call a label. A label points out something specific on a picture. This label right here, and I'm going to label the label with the word label, is part of a larger text feature called a diagram. A diagram is basically a picture that has labeled parts. So when I look at this picture of the globe, it is pointing out landforms such as North America and South America, and it's also pointing out oceans like the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. So a diagram is just a picture with labels, and a label is just a word or words that points out a specific feature within a diagram for a picture. So when you're reading about globes, it's going to describe the landforms and oceans. Now over here we have what are called embedded questions. This is a consumable workbook, meaning that you can write in it. It's yours to keep. So when you see questions like this, it says name the two continents shown in the photo of Earth. You would write the answers down here. Name the two oceans shown. So basically you're going to interpret the information that you see up here in this diagram and put the answers down here. Pretty simple, right? Below the diagram, you see a photograph of a globe. And over here, you see the word globe has been highlighted in yellow, and the text is in bold. This is a device that textbook companies will use every time they want to point out a new vocabulary word that they want students to pay particular attention to. They usually do it the first time they introduce a word or the first time that they define the word. So as I read the text right here, it says, to the right is a globe, a round model of Earth. Now, textbook authors will typically define a word once they've highlighted it and put it in bold text like this, either in the sentence leading up to the word, or within the sentence that contains the word, or right after a sentence that contains the word. So what is a globe? A globe is a round model of Earth. That's all it is. You probably could have given me that definition yourself. It's a model, and it shows that the Earth is a sphere, and it points out all the features within that sphere. So it continues to say some globes are small enough to hold in your hand. It shows the true shapes and locations of Earth, continents, and oceans. A globe often shows two lines that divide Earth into halves. These two lines are called the prime meridian and the equator. You can see the equator on this globe. Now, I read this text out to you to point something out. Once they define or highlight a vocabulary word, the text will just mention it normally. They won't highlight it or underline it or draw any more attention to you. So once they define a new vocabulary term, they start to use it regularly in the text beyond that. So always be paying attention to words that are highlighted in bold like this, because they're usually words that are specific for the topic. We call that content vocabulary. Now, there's just one more thing I want to point out to you, and we'll let the PDF pixelate a little bit. And that is over here on the right hand side, you're going to see a call out box that points out the vocabulary on both these two pages. They highlight and write in bold the vocabulary words within the text, but then sometimes the authors will set aside the terms specifically, kind of like a word search. They want you to look for them because these are words that you're going to need to learn more about. So the first word that was highlighted was globe. The second one is hemisphere. And as you can see, it's the second word that's highlighted and in bold. So the vocabulary words are placed in sequential order, meaning that they're written down in the order where they appear in the text, not necessarily in alphabetical order, because E for equator would come before G for globe. The equator and the prime meridian divide Earth into halves called hemispheres. And then again, the authors will proceed to go and talk about hemispheres without drawing any more attention to the word. So like right down here where it talks about how the Earth is split up into 4 hemispheres, it's just written in normal font, no bold, no highlighting. So that is how we're going to navigate some of these text features that we see within the text. So your job today, boys and girls, is to read through these 2 pages. I want you to utilize the text features that are offered, and we will discuss the content of what the text tells us tomorrow. Thank you very much.